Easy cream of vegetable soup with the ingredients you see here. The first thing and the hardest thing you have to do is roughly chop up all of your ingredients. Then, in your saucepan, you're going to heat it up first and add your oil. In order to make a really flavorful soup, one of the most important steps is to saute your onions and really suck the flavor out of your vegetables. So you add your roughly cut onions to this oil, and then add about half of the salt that you're going to use right onto your onions. Some of you might know about this trick. It's because water follows salt. So if you salt them, it'll help them break down faster, and it draws out the flavor into your soup. So give those onions a stir, spread around the salt and the oil, and then I want you to cover the pan, turn the heat down, and you'll sweat the onions so they soften quickly, and you'll sweat them for about 5 minutes. Okay, so opening your lid, you'll see your onions have gotten a little bit softer. It's time to add your harder vegetables like your carrots and your celery. This is also the time you'll want to add whatever dried herbs or spices you would add to your soup. In this case, I'm doing some thyme, oregano, basil mixture, and I'm adding more salt, again to pull all the juices out of the celery and carrots and help them break down faster. And I'm going to saute this on a medium or medium-high, and I'll saute this for about 4 or 5 minutes, stir it again, and another 4 or 5 minutes to help it break down. Now, in case some of you don't have homemade chicken broth sitting around in your freezer, I want to show you a great shortcut. You can buy unsalted chicken broth and combine it with unflavored gelatin. And that gelatin is going to increase the protein content and give you a lot of that collagen in your soup, which is not only good for you, it gives you a great silky texture to your soup. So now that your carrots and celery are a little more tender, now you'll add your quicker cooking potatoes. And once you've added those, you're going to add your liquids, your chicken broth, and you can add extra chicken broth or water, but you want the water level just to cover the vegetables, no more than necessary, because you want this to be a thicker soup. You can always add more later. So once you have enough of your liquid, you're going to cover the pot, bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer for about 10 minutes until the potatoes are fork tender. Now you're going to go from your basic cream soup base with your onions, potatoes, carrots, and celery, and add your interesting vegetables. But first you need to make sure your potatoes and carrots are cooked properly, so you're just going to see that you can mash them with a fork. And if they're easily mashed with a fork, you're good. Now at this point you have a lot of flexibility with what vegetables you add. I'm going to add broccoli, as much as I had sitting in my refrigerator, and I'm adding kale. You could also add cauliflower. You could use any hardy kind of tough green like kale or collard greens. Then you'll stir them in. You want the whole thing submerged. So mash it down, and you might even need to add a little more liquid, but only till it's submerged. Don't add too much liquid. Now these vegetables cook very quickly, and you want to cook them until they're just tender. So put the lid on this pot, take it up to the boil, turn it down, and just let it cook for 5 minutes. Okay, we're almost done. All your vegetables should be cooked by now. You will want to take your fork again and make sure your broccoli is fork tender so you can blend it up easily. And we're going to add the last couple of ingredients, and my favorite one to add here is preserved basil. You can also use store-bought pesto or fresh basil here. And optionally, I like to add about a 1/4 cup of whipping cream. Now you've used a lot of potatoes in there, so when you blend it without the cream, it should still be really creamy and nice, but I like the cream. To blend it up, I use an immersion blender. You can use a regular blender to do this. I personally really don't like pouring hot soup into a blender. I always burn myself. So I think a $25 immersion blender is really worth the investment. All that's left to do now is adjust your seasoning, taste it, and add some salt. So that's my easy cream of vegetable soup. So the next time you've bought a whole bunch of really good for you vegetables and haven't done anything with them, make this soup. Everyone will like it. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. You can find me on my website and on Facebook. The links for them are in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and do try your hand at making this soup.